All right, as the nice lady said, welcome to our pre-competition webinar for the 2024 Interscholastic Unified Tennis State Tournament. It's wild, quite honestly, that we're already at the end of fall season. Great job to everybody with their teams this year. We're going to go through this information. If you've been to our state tournament at JTCC before, we kept a lot of things the same. We're always shooting for consistency for you and your schools. But again, we try to tweak some things to help things get better as well. So there are some tweaks. Really quick off the top, going to talk some Unified Champion School stuff. We talked a lot about this going into the beginning of the season. Again, a reminder that Unified Champion Schools makes up the three component system that involves unified sports. It's unified sports, whole school engagement, and youth leadership. First of all, our team from Unified Champion Schools, Melissa Kelly and Allie Boyd, want to wish everybody luck going into the state tournament. I believe both of them will be at the state tournament, but also they want to remind you guys, if you're taking pictures, if you're going to post on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat question mark, maybe that's a thing still. I'm not very good at those, but please use these hashtags UnifiedMD, Experience Inclusion, and tag us. We love to see the photos that you guys share. Reminders on some of the Unified Champions School stuff as we go through. We want to make sure that you guys are staying in touch with the Unified Champions Schools team. There's some information that they ask for throughout the school year / season, and a lot of that helps to promote unified sports and, quite honestly, gain funding for unified sports. First of all, thank you to the teams that did already submit their captains. I think a lot of you got your certificates for your captains. If you haven't turned in who your captains are, please email those names to the UCS, Unified Champion Schools, email for SOMD. You can get that from the webinar after we'll send the slides. Additionally, when you get the chance, look into our Maryland Banner Recognition Program, essentially doing the three parts of the whole school engagement, youth leadership, and unified sports. Potentially makes you eligible for this program. This is something to do with your athletic director. It's a really good statewide recognition program. Department of Education recognizes it, all that kind of good stuff. And more info is available at this link. And then additionally, something that's really important this year that really helps us out, especially in that funding department, is we need to report who's doing each of the components, all three components, to Special Olympics International, Department of Education, so on and so forth. So we're going to send out a link and follow up with you guys. To do this, essentially, it's a survey. You fill out a couple things here, takes about 5 minutes, and then send it back in. The more schools that we can confirm are doing three components, the more funding we can secure, so on and so forth. You guys know how that song and dance goes. And then again, thank you guys. We're creeping ever closer across the state of Maryland for almost 20,000 athletes and unified partners, and just a lot of participation across the state from young athletes all the way through our community program. Again, we have programming from 18 months old to, I mean, I don't know how old our oldest community program athlete is. Mike Sarnowski's on here. He may know. But I'm going to say 60s or 70s.
I think it's 82.
There we go. 18 to 82 is going to be my new number. So remind your students that we have a community program as well, especially ones that are graduating, and that's both athletes and unified partners. Our community programs would love your unified partners as young leaders in their programs as well. We're going to talk tennis now. Essentially, usual agenda that you guys are used to seeing. Medical will be on site. It'll be Free State, the hired medical group that we usually have. Most of the time, they're at the control center. So if you need something, they can be found there. Sometimes they are wandering. They will have a radio with their own specific medical channel. Should you need medical for something, tell the closest person in one of our staff pullovers. They're a gray pullover, says Special Olympics Maryland Unified Sports on it. Tell them they'll radio medical and we'll come to wherever you need us to come to. Just be clear when they say, hey, we need medical, tell the person who's on the radio, hey, we need it at court 13. We need it at awards, whatever it may be, we can get somebody there for you. Additionally, if you have an athlete that has additional medical needs that you need a spare changing room or something like that, please email Katie and I ASAP after this, and we can work to make that happen for you. Additionally, special accommodations. If you have an athlete that has a special accommodation, that, my new favorite example of this is an athlete for bocce last year only ever wears pink Crocs. We do not want athletes wearing Crocs or slip-ons or hey-dos or whatever for competition, even in bocce. But if that athlete, the only thing that he ever wears and allows him to get through the day is wearing those pink Crocs, you know what? Send us an email. Let us know about that. And that's something that we can work with you on. For tennis, we want everybody in sneakers. But send us an email. If you have an athlete that needs extra support, if you have an athlete, a good example of something that I saw for tennis, there was an athlete who the best way for them to communicate, for them to understand what's happening for skills, is they have little visual cards that they show of what the skill is and where their racket should be held. They show the card and they step away. If that's an extra accommodation that you need, that's something easy for us to accommodate that doesn't hurt competition. But we need to know before we get there. There's not much we can do for you the day of. So if you have a question or think you have an accommodation potentially that needs to be requested for an athlete, email Katie and I ASAP between now and, essentially Friday, and we can see if we can help you with that. We can't guarantee that we can accommodate absolutely everything, but we will do our best to meet your athletes where they're at. That's what we're about. Location. Still at GTCC. We haven't moved. It's on Campus Drive. It's right down the street from UMD. Again, that's the address. It'll take you to the main front parking lot. We have notes and stuff that we'll share with you, but essentially remember, don't go into the front parking lot with a bus. It's too small to even turn a bus around in. Corporal Drive is the next road down, and that's where we want you to turn into. There'll be plenty of signage. We'll have signs where you'll be able to find where you need to go. It's okay. Schedule. This is the same schedule we always run. Realistically, we want you guys there between 9 and 10 a.m. The closer to 9 you get there, the more warm-up time that you'll get. Essentially, we have 9:30 to 10:15 you can warm up. If you're there and ready to go at 9:15 and Katie's all set at the table and in a good spot, we'll even let you warm up a little bit early. Everybody does have to come off the courts at 10:15 because we need to do opening ceremonies. Before opening ceremony, though, we will do our coaches meeting that we do before every competition for states at the control center tent. We'll go over some things that we're going over tonight as reminders, and we'll go over some fresh things should they pop up between now and Tuesday there. Last couple notes, competition begins at 10:30. What we want to do is as soon as opening ceremony is done, we're going to start calling for probably the first half dozen to a dozen matches, and we want to get them staged and on courts ASAP. So make sure you're listening. Everybody will get a copy of the master sheet for the matches for the day in their coaches packet. So as soon as you get that, make sure you double check, see if you have any pairs in the top 12 matches, and be prepared after opening ceremonies to go right to staging with those pairs. Lunch, probably 11:30. We'll make a call. We'll make an announcement. We will let you know that lunch is available. Send a coach and an athlete and a partner. You don't have to send everybody. We'll have everything pre-packed and we'll get it out to you guys. And then last, we have awards right now at 4 o'clock. Usually we're ahead of that. But we like to set some real expectations for awards to let you guys know, hey, parents, we might get home a little bit late if we're traveling, if it goes a little late. So make sure parents are prepared for pickup. There is no rain date. The nice thing with JTCC is they have the inside facility. If it rains, we will go inside. Additionally, you will hear me say throughout this webinar, if the courts are safe enough to play outside, but the weather's a little chilly, maybe it was a little bit wet from the night before, but it's not puddly, and JTCC says the courts are safe outside, we'll play outside. Right now, weather looks great. But if for some reason it's a little wet, a little chilly, but the courts are playable, we are going to do our best to stay outside because it'll let us stay on schedule as much as possible. Any questions about the initial stuff, schedule, whatever, you can type it into the chat. You can raise your hand. You can unmute. But any questions to start? Fantastic. Parking, buses, arrival, all that good stuff. Here's how the bus situation works. Like I said, Campus Drive is the main road in front of JTCC. If you put in JTCC's address, it's going to put you in this little parking lot in the front. If you try to put a bus in there, you may never get it out again, especially if there's cars parked there already. Um, Please tell your bus drivers to go past JTCC or turn on the road before JTCC. Where you see this green line on Corporal Drive is where we want your buses to pull up. There'll be plenty of bus parking signs for bus stops. We'll unload you guys there, and then you'll walk down Lehigh Drive where these blue dots are into the backside of the facility. That's the game plan. We have folks out there that will help you get off the buses, and then we'll communicate to your bus drivers. They can turn around in this big municipal lot here, and then go back out and park across the street at the ice skating rink if they're staying. They're more than welcome to come across after that, but that's the game plan. Come in on Corporal Drive, uh, teams walk down Lehigh, buses turn around, go back to the ice rink. Parking. Let's talk parking. I know some coaches come independently. I know families will come independently. So I'm going to need you guys to do a little bit of communication on parking so we can help JTCC out. Uh, Big thing is, please don't have anybody park in that front little main parking lot if we can help it. JTCC, while it is a Tuesday morning / afternoon, as long as we're outside, they will open up the indoor courts to their members. So members will come out, play, train, whatever. So we like to leave that front parking lot open. If you so choose, and there's still room, there's a back parking lot here where our management team will park. You're more than welcome to park there as well, but it fills up quick. The next stop is where the volunteers park across the street at the ice rink. We will have UMD police stationed to help people cross Campus Drive. Okay? Um, Realistically, the only people we want parking in the front parking lot, should they need to, is somebody that truly has a hard time walking and needs it for handicap purposes. Otherwise, please, please, please avoid parking in that front parking lot. If you have somebody that you know needs a handicap spot, send me an email after the webinar. We can do our best to reserve a spot for them. We can't always guarantee it. It's first come, first serve. Again, that front parking lot's about a dozen spots. We also want to keep it open for JTCC members. But if you have somebody that absolutely needs a handicap spot, please reach out ASAP. Questions on bus arrival or parking? Again, if you have a question about something as we get further into the webinar, feel free to ask as well too. I know we're going through a lot of information here. So let's go through baseline competition information. Credentials. Coaches, assistant coaches, team managers, paraprofessionals that were on your initial team roster to start the year, we have in GMS, and we were running credentials for them. They're the ones that are going to get credentials. We don't do credentials for the students because, quite honestly, half the time they don't remember to put them on, or they put them on and they take them off for a match and they lose them, and they're just all over the place. So credentials are the main thing. Any non-student athlete that doesn't have a credential, a parent that comes along, an athletic director that we didn't do paperwork for, a paraprofessional that doesn't need to be with a athlete one-on-one. If they don't have a credential, they can't go on the court or field of play. And two, we're not prepared to serve them a lunch. With that said, we probably will have some extra lunches. So if you have somebody that travels extra with your team, we might be able to help them, but we won't know that until we feed all the schools, all the volunteers, all the management team, and then go from there. Um, Remember to review the event guide. I will send that out tonight with the other stuff that comes out with the webinar slides and stuff. Event guide just has some additional details compared to what we're talking about here, but it covers a lot of the same information. There will be a copy in your packet, so you don't need to print one for yourself, but it is a really good resource for you guys to have. Let's talk match play. I think this is the most important thing. We have two formats for match play if we are outdoors versus indoors. If we are outdoors, we're playing the standard 2 mini sets, play to 4, win by 2. Same thing you guys have been doing all season long, and we have a 30-minute time limit just because of the number of matches and how long we have in a day to do it. Essentially, no ad scoring. If we need to tiebreak, we will tiebreak. If you guys get through the first match and start the second match and don't finish it, if there's no clear winner in that second match that goes to time, we'll tiebreak that match. If for some reason one team wins the first match and then the other team wins the tiebreaker when it goes to time, we'll run a whole match tiebreaker. Again, same process as you guys did for all of your district tournaments. I know Frederick did have to do 8 game pro set for their tournament because of how many they had. But if we are outside, be prepared to play the 2 mini sets to 4, just like you've done all season. If there's bad weather and we have to get pushed inside to play inside, still a 30-minute limit, but we will go to the 8 game pro set. The 8 game pro set allows us to just play straight games, and whoever wins the most games when you get to time wins the match. So if it's 5-4 and it goes to time, whoever has 5 games wins. If it's 4-4 when we go to time, 5-5, 6-6, whatever, if it's tied when we go to time in an 8 game pro set, we will play a tiebreaker for the last game, and then whoever wins would go from 4-4 to 5-4, and it would determine the winner. Um, I will say with 8 game pro set, we very rarely actually see a tiebreaker needed, and that's what makes it a quicker format for if we need to go indoors. And the reason that we need to speed things up if we go indoors is because we go from 11 courts to 6 courts. So we got to keep on schedule. It gets really tight inside. Before I follow up with some match stuff, any questions on the two formats, inside versus outside? We'll go over this in the morning at the coaches meeting as well. Okay. Um, right now, everybody is guaranteed absolutely one match, but we also have everyone down for a second match. There is a very unique scenario, I think only once, that somebody has to play 3 times, and we've already cleared that with coaches that we needed to. But right now, one match guaranteed for sure, and 2 matches set up for everybody. We're looking about 65 to 70 matches. And if we're outside, we'll have 11 courts and we won't have a problem. We will get through those matches and crank through and have no issue. Again, the concern is if we have to go inside and we drop from 11 courts to 6 courts, the schedule gets really tight. So if we have to go inside, we will prioritize playing all the matches for scoring opportunities first, and then kind of assess where we are for second matches. And if we can, we will play every possible match, no matter whether we're inside or outside. But there's just a reality to going inside and having half of the amount of courts that, we got to prioritize scoring matches first. Again, we're not planning to drop any matches. We're not planning to skip a second match for anybody. We just want to prep to have all scenarios ready. Should we play inside? Should we play outside? Should something happen that we lose half an hour for some reason? Whatever it may be, we want to have contingency plans in place. Katie, anything you want to say on the match formats or anything?
No, but seeing how we have basically doubled our gameplay from last year, coaches, we are going to be using the Remind app to let you know when match numbers are called. If your team is not at staging within 5 minutes of going out on the court, we will move on. So you need to be on top of that because I have to get matches out quickly. So please pay attention to the numbers. If you know you have a friend that needs to use the restroom and it takes them a good chunk of time, plan accordingly.
Yeah.
But we are going literally 165 this time.
Yeah, yeah, we are plowing through. I think our communication for staging, which we'll cover now, has gotten pretty good. Um, if there's an emergency that pops up for some reason that somebody got hurt in a prior match or whatever, something to do with scratches at the last minute that is reported after check-in, um, let us know. Give us enough heads up that we can potentially help you, but we're going to keep trying to plow through the matches as much as we can to stay on schedule. Um, like Katie said, gotta go back. We will make an announcement to report to the match. It'll be in building 2 if we're indoors, or it'll be outside. I have a map where I'll show you outside. And again, for matches, there will be an announcement made from a PA from where Katie is. It'll go onto the Remind app, and there's a whiteboard that we will show what matches are on which court and what's next in the lineup. Again, when they come to staging, make sure your student athletes come with their rackets, with a water bottle if they're coming. Come with everything they need to play. We don't want them going back to your team area to retrieve stuff when we put them in staging. Again, we're going to go in sequence. If you have a question about what match we're on or where we're at, or something funky comes up, Katie will have people assisting her at the table. Try to talk to them. Try to let Katie just continuously work through the matches, because Katie's not only, once things get going, sending matches out, but she's taking scores back in. So she's pulling double duty there along with her assistants. So if you have a question, let Katie keep working and check in with her assistants. If it's something that she needs to chime in on, she's right there. She'll hear it, and she'll speak up. But again, the more we can let her just keep working, the more fluid we stay. Last note, like Katie said, if you miss that second call, hey, we're calling for this team, come to staging, 2 to 3 minutes later, hey, we're still looking for this team, come to staging. If it's time to send them out, we're gonna essentially just call that match and it'll be a forfeit. If it's a mini set and we're playing outside, it's a forfeit 4-0-4-0. If it's a 8-game pro set, it's 8-0 if we're inside. Again, just listen up and register for the Remind app. Here's the Remind app link. You don't need to take it down or anything. When I send the email out after this, I will put this link directly in the email so you don't even need to go into the webinar. If there is anything you do tonight, I highly recommend it's just signing up for the Remind app. I think it's probably one of the best things that we do. We also do it for Summer Games Swimming, which is 600 plus athletes with 3 to 4 events over 3 days. It just gets the information to you guys right in the palm of your hand, and it's the easiest way to stay in communication. Again, reminder on competition accommodations. If you have an athlete that needs a special accommodation, we don't know every one of your athletes like you do. Please send an email and reach out. Even if you think it's something that maybe they need, just reach out and ask, okay? I will go over this more in depth on site. I think it's more of a better coaches meeting note. But again, reminders for protests. If you have a protest for a match, don't sign the match card, because after every match, the official will have you guys sign the card as the coach. Don't sign it and go right to the control center. Don't go to Katie. Go to the control center where you checked in as a head coach in the morning and say you want to file a protest. We have a rules committee that will look over the protest, and they'll make a determination on that. A reminder on protest stuff. It can't be an official's judgment call. If we're talking easy concept for football, you can't throw a protest in there for pass interference. The official called it. That's what they saw. That's what it is. Tennis is a little difficult. I've been trying to rack my brain throughout the day for a good protest situation. Um, an example that came up a couple years ago, that was a denied protest, but still a valid protest, was for red ball, they were playing a red ball match and they were playing the alley. That's not how red ball happens. That's like a facilitation infraction, and that's something that should be protested. The reason it was denied though is because they played the alley for both teams. While it was wrong, it was wrong for both teams. But it's a good protestable item. Another note on protests is a lot of the times we can fix something before it's actually an issue and causes a problem for your student athletes in the match they're playing. If you see something that's wrong, politely step up to one of the officials on the court and say, hey, hold up for a second. I have a question. I think this isn't happening the right way, or this is wrong based off of my understanding. We met with the officials, which are JTCC students who know tennis very well, but there are students, they're still learning some things. We met with them this week and we said, hey, if there's a question, official has a question, coach has a question, stop the match, grab somebody from the management team, and let's fix it and answer it. It's better to fix it and answer it ahead of time than not do it at all. Okay, so we'll go over protest stuff. I will spend my weekend trying to rack my brain for a good protestable tennis situation, but I've struggled to do so to this point.
I would say, Zach, a good one would be like the serving line, like the kid keeps stepping over the service line. That would be a protestable thing, especially if it's been a comp or if it's a issue throughout the entire match.
Yep, for sure, for sure. And especially if the official says something and the student keeps doing it and it's beyond the official's control at that point. I think that's a great example. Thanks, Katie. Now I don't have to spend my weekend thinking about protests. Awesome. Uniform reminders. Again, leggings can't be transparent above the knee unless there's shorts over them. No shorts with crazy designs on them. Again, 99.9% of your teams have matching school unified sports tops with the unified sports logo on it. That's what we want them to wear. When it comes to the bottoms, we will not fight you on, every bottom short being exactly the same. If you have school issued shorts, wear them. If you have school issued sweatpants, wear them. That's perfect. That's great. We recognize that not everybody has school issued pants for uniforms. If you want to go black as your uniform bottoms, tell everybody to wear black. Blue, whatever color, just do the same color and very plain shorts. Tell people to go out to Walmart or Target, buy those $4 athletic shorts that they have at Walmart and Target. They're perfect for this. Um, Additionally, I always tell coaches, if you have budget or flexibility or your athletic director's willing to let you do it, go out and buy a pair of each size of the color that you want. So when somebody inevitably shows up in jeans because their parents didn't realize that they were going to state tennis that day, you have something for them to change into. Um, if somebody shows up and they're wearing jeans, if they are wearing non-tennis athletic shoes, if they're wearing Crocs, slip-ons, whatever, um, if they're wearing cargo shorts or whatever like that, they're not going to be allowed to play. Like, we will not let them play. That means you lose a pair, you potentially forfeit a match, and it could hurt your team. So make sure people are in the right uniforms. Again, this is a spot where I will say, if you have an athlete that has a special accommodation for a uniform, we have an athlete that comes up once a year, if I remember correctly, will only wear camo cargo shorts. It's the only thing this kid will wear year round, and we're not going to fight you on that, right? We're not going to fight with an athlete, but if we don't know that before the event via email, it's just a surprise the morning of, and we have to DQ them. There's nothing we can do about that, okay? So, again, if there's an accommodation, reach out. If somebody shows up and they're not in the right uniform, they will not play, though. Again, everybody else has done what they need to do to be in uniform. We expect that of everyone's students. If for some reason a match starts or the day gets going and we miss somebody that's in improper uniform, we're not going to yank them off the court. They will finish their match, but that match will be forfeited by that team in the wrong uniform, and they won't be able to go back on for a second match. Questions on uniform stuff before I talk team divisions really quick? Fantastic. Again, reminder, team divisions, essentially what we do is we look at teams that have similar composition of numbers of pairs on teams and the color balls that they have listed for their team. You know, teams that have more green ball will be in divisions with teams that have more green ball. We need other green ball teams to play. So that's really how we work it out. And then again, we have it set up so that if you only have 3 pairs on your team, but other teams have 5, we'll make sure everybody has 5 scoring opportunities. Everybody will have equal scoring chances. We just need to play the game of matching teams based off of how we can get matches on the court of equitable skill level based on ball color. Opening ceremony. When you guys arrive, the game plan should be coaches stop at the control center that you'll see as soon as you walk into the facility off of Lehigh Road. Head coach stops there, gets their packet. The rest of the team goes to the main court for opening ceremonies. Finds a spot, sits down, gets ready for opening ceremonies, goes and warms up if they need to. The main thing is that opening ceremony will happen on that main stadium court with the bleacher seating at 10:15 on the dot. We want to get rolling. If for some reason everybody's there by 10 o'clock, like literally every single bus is in, we may make an announcement that we're doing opening ceremonies 5 minutes ahead of time just to get things rolling, right? Um, Again, please have them on, all your students on the bleachers for the stadium court by 10:05 so that by 10:10 everyone's ready to go and we can start opening ceremonies right at 10:15. The main thing for you guys as coaches with opening ceremonies is right after opening ceremonies is done, we're going to start calling for those first 5, 10, 12 matches. Look at your match sheet, and if you have any students, have them over to staging right away, okay? Um, Side note, good question for weather. Will kids outside be allowed to wear sweatshirts? If it's chilly that day and they need to wear sweatshirts, that's fine. We're not going to bother them on sweatshirts. We understand that people get cold. We're not going to freeze kids out there. Good question, though. Just so you guys know what we're looking at for the facility. The main stadium court is this one inside the yellow circle. It's right next to the main JTCC building, and it's right across from the wall ball court where we do awards. The yellow rectangle here is the main control center. That's where coaches will check in. So again, you'll walk down Lehigh Road. Head coaches will check in at the yellow rectangle, get their packets and stuff. Everybody else will go to the stadium court, okay? Some notes on the outdoor plan. For staging, what we're going to use for staging is the stadium court seating on this side inside of the yellow circle of the stadium court. So if you want to sit there for opening ceremonies, that's fine. We will shoo you out of there once opening ceremonies is open, though. So be prepared for that. Then, if you're looking for the competition tent slash where Katie and her crew will be, it's right in between courts 18 and the stadium court. It's right on this corner here. That is where you will have students come to check in, say, hey, we're checking in for our match. Great. They'll send them the staging. Once both pairs are there, they will come and go down to whatever court they're assigned to. Okay? Reminders for outdoor stuff. One, the stadium court seating, the porch, any of the grass areas, you guys can set up in any of those spots. Just remember, you want to be in an area that when we make announcements or that you can check the Remind app, that you can get to staging in a timely manner. Lunch is announced around 11:30. Send 2 to 3 people to the lunch area, which is over by the wall ball court. There's a big tent over there. That's where lunches will be served out of to pick up lunches for your team and then eat lunch wherever your team set up. Please do, when you're done with lunch, we will give you garbage bags. Please fill the garbage bags we give you. Please fill the garbage bags with your trash and stuff so we can get rid of it. If you have a full garbage bag at some point during the day, please bring it over to the main control center. we'll take it there. And if you even need a new garbage bag, we will give you another one. JTCC does have facility garbages, but they're just normal standard size garbages. They're not meant to take on 250 kids at a tennis event. So that's just the reality of it. A few more notes for outdoor stuff. Restrooms are inside the JTCC building. Go in them, use them as you need to. Um, but please be respectful of the stuff in there. Be respectful of the facility. Other people, members, JTCC students will be using the locker rooms and restrooms. Go in, do what you need to do, and get out. Additionally, um, if you have a question about the event, not tennis specific stuff, please go to the competition control center or the main control center, not the competition control center where Katie is. If you have a question about, hey, just doing an update, what's the process for awards again? Hey, I need another map of the facility. Hey, can you guys show me my roster one more time? Whatever it may be, go to the main control center where the coach is checked in to start the day, not the competition one where Katie is. If you need something tennis specific, hey, I have a question about how this works for yellow ball or skills, or what's match order? Where are we at in the match order? Go to the competition one where Katie is, but go to her assistants first before you go to Katie. Last note, they have clay courts here in building one and outside. Nobody should be on the clay courts at any point. Not only is it to protect the facility from us messing up the clay courts, it's a safety thing. If you have not been on clay courts before, they're a totally different surface. They're gravelly, they're gritty, and they're just not normal surfaces for people to be on. We don't want people getting hurt.
So,
If and yes,
oh, sorry, Zach. So the best way I played tennis and played on clay courts, they're slippery. So if you have friends that do have balance issues, those are courts they should not even be looking at. They will slip, they will slide, they will fall down. It's not fun.
yeah. Our policy for the clay courts has always been if anybody from a team is on a clay court and we find out, we'll just DQ the team, the whole team, honestly. We take the clay courts very seriously. We don't want unnecessary injuries. We want to protect your student athletes. We want to have a really good day of competition and fun, but we need to protect everybody, okay? Skills. We're doing something a little bit different with skills this time. Skills will not happen outside on court 13. It's going to happen in building 2 on the singles court no matter what. If it's good weather, bad weather, apocalyptic weather. Skills will happen inside building 2. If you are not sure where that is, building 2 is the center line of blue courts here, and skills will be in the far right court. You enter from the main JTCC building past the bathrooms, down at the bottom here, and there's a pathway that goes between the buildings. For skills, what we're going to do is after opening ceremonies is done, once we start announcing the staging for the initial matches, we will make an announcement for skills to report to the wall ball court where we do awards. Mark Sunkel, who's our skills person, will meet everybody there and then escort the students inside to the indoor court. That is one new thing that we're doing this year. It frees up court 13 to have matches right away. Plus, then there's no outdoor weather effects on skills at all. No wind, no nothing. Should be an improved experience for your skills athletes. Here's the big thing again. Unless those outdoor courts are unplayable by JTCC standards, they're too wet, it's too windy outside, a tornado's coming through, we're going to play outside if we can. So if it's chilly, we're playing outside. If it's a little wet, but JTCC says the courts are not unsafe to play on, we're playing outside. Those 11 courts compared to 6 indoor courts is a life-changing difference and experience. I'm sure if any of you have been there when we've done indoor versus outdoor for states, you can confirm it is much better to be outside than inside. Any questions on the outdoor plan notes before we cover indoor stuff should we need it? Okay. Here's the map for the indoor plan. Main thing that I want to show you here is that the only reason we will take opening ceremonies inside is if we can't be outside for anything, like the weather's that bad. Otherwise, even if the weather's a little iffy, a little drizzly, a little chilly, and we play inside, we're still planning to do opening outside because it's easier and it's less condensed and less people jammed into one building. Should we need to do opening inside, though, the game plan for that is in Building 2, right where the pathway splits through Building 2. We will do opening ceremonies on this court outlined in red, and we will put everybody on the courts on the other side to spectate. That'll be the game plan. Again, we are extremely hopeful that the weather will be great, but there's always a chance. Additionally, our friends from the Virginia Youth League for their tennis league do need 2 courts again. It just happens to fall on the same day again. So if we are inside, we will be using courts 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for doubles play. We will still use S2 here for skills no matter what, indoor or outdoor. Reminders for indoor if we need to be inside. 1, the center aisle of building 1, which has clay courts, so don't go on the courts, but you can be in building 1 in the center aisle because there's room to put your stuff. The JTCC lounge, or any covered outdoor areas, the porch. There's a tent over where we do merch. Any of those places are fine. But with that said, again, you're going to have to stay on top of listening for announcements in Building 2 for staging or the Remind app. So again, you're going to want to be on that Remind app, especially if we're inside. 2, lunch stays the same way. Nothing changes about lunch. Pick it up outside. Go to wherever your team area is. 3, also the bathrooms don't change. Bathrooms, same deal. Respect the facility. Do what you need to do. Get in, get out. The main note that does change here, main control center stays outside unless it's, again, terrible, terrible weather. We'll find a spot inside for that. It then usually goes into the cafeteria little lunch area they have. The main thing is if we have to go inside for competition, Katie's table and her crew will be in Building 2 along with staging. We will set up staging and her table in Building 2, which is why we ask you guys not to set up shop for your team area in Building 2. If we have to play inside, Building 2 is nothing but business that day. It's tennis, it's staging, it's competition table. No one's hunkering down in Building 2. Come in and spectate, watch your teams play, and then get out. That's the game plan if we have to be inside. Questions for the inside situation? Katie, anything you want to add competition-wise?
No, just like we say, if please try and find a volunteer before me. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, I have 8 matches that I got to get out every half hour. So to just help get people out as fast as I can, please just try to find somebody before me. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just purely I'm trying to get all the matches out as quickly as I can in a very short time frame. But if I have a free moment and I'm able to talk, I will definitely do so.
Fantastic. Thank you, Katie. All right, let's talk awards. We're on the back end here. Again, we want to make sure we got everything covered for you guys. The person that's in charge of awards is Tyler. Tyler's on here. He is our manager of Unified Sports. He will be helping with both ceremonies, opening ceremonies, and awards. So you'll see him at the front and back end of the day. Game plan for awards. This is where it gets a little tricky sometimes. And if you've been to states before, it can get a little clustered. So we really need you guys to work with us. When we get to awards time, we will call for the US Open Division. We will call for the Australian Open Division. Do not bring your teams into the awards area unless you hear your division called. Again, we will also use the Remind app to let you know what divisions we're calling for awards. If stray teams wander into awards and are just hunkering down on that wall ball court, it gets very crowded very quick and it slows down awards, which means you go home later. And you don't want that, obviously. So again, listen for your division to be called for awards and watch the Remind app. When you go in, there will be stanchion. I'll show you the next slide. There'll be this black line of stanchion between staging, awards, and spectator area. Please stay behind the stanchion. Tell your other students, tell your families, tell spectators, hey, the more we follow along, the more we stay out of the way. We'll get pictures. We'll have a good experience at awards, but it'll be quicker if we're not jamming everything up. Additionally, once you get your awards and pictures, take a couple pictures. We want you to have a nice moment. Please vacate the award stand and exit the awards area altogether. The more we can keep the flow of awards in and out and happening in a timely manner, the quicker it works for everybody, right? There is a division that goes first and a division that goes last. How that shakes out, we're unsure until competition happens. But somebody's going to be that last division. So, again, if you're that last division, encourage people to be quick about what they do. Um, Secondly, thirdly, fourthly, whatever point I'm on at this point, make sure before you leave, please clean up your area. JTCC is a really, really nice facility. They do a really nice job hosting us, accommodating us, supporting our student athletes. They have free Special Olympics programming throughout the year. They are a great partner of Special Olympics Maryland. We want the facility to look better than when we went in. So again, if you have a chance, even as you're cleaning up, scan the area that you were set up in, pick up whatever trash you can find, throw things out, make sure you have all your rackets and backpacks and whatever you bring, and then exit the facility, okay? So the staging game plan for awards, it's better to show you with the picture here. When we call for your students, for your team, for your division, when we call the Australian Open division, we want teams from the Australian Open division to come back into the tent here to this side where the awards waiting area is. Once they're in there, Tyler and his crew will start calling teams and say, hey, we need this team from the Australian Open. Make a line here. We will have 3 or 4 lines against the wall ball wall here to get you guys lined up. Once a team or two is lined up, they're going to start rolling award ceremonies. They'll call your team from award staging onto the award stand. The announcements will be made. We'll recognize your players. They'll get their awards, take pictures. Great. That team comes off. The next team comes on. Tyler keeps pulling teams from the awards waiting area. Once we get half of one division done, we'll probably call the next one. You know, Tyler will make a call for the US Open. US Open comes in. We finish the Australian. US Open starts coming through. That's going to be the process for awards. So again, the more this spectator area is gummed up with teams waiting that don't need to be waiting there, the harder it is for us to get the teams we need to get to awards waiting and staging, the slower the process is. So again, if you don't need to be in awards, don't be in awards. If you're waiting to be called, I highly recommend going into the stadium court area and waiting there. You will hear announcements from there. Questions on standard award protocol at this point? Tyler, any notes that you want to share with awards other than what I said?
Nope, I think you covered it all.
Cool. New thing to awards. We are doing a sportsmanship award starting this year for all of our state events. This has been requested by multiple coaches and district reps, and we are finally doing this again. I think we've tried this at one point before my time, but we're going to give this a go. This is how it's going to work. Teams will be given 1 vote per team, and you're going to get an index card sized thing in your coach's packet. When you go to pick up your lunch, 11:30, please vote for a team for the Sportsmanship Award. If for some reason you haven't found a team to vote for at that point yet, that's fine. You don't have to turn it in with lunch, but please turn it into the main control center, not Katie in competition control, the main control center. You can turn it into Dottie, who's going to be at the control center there. Teams cannot vote for themselves. I didn't think I'd have to put in this note, but after talking to a few people, I said, you know what? Maybe I will put this in just in case to remind folks. please take the time, get to know other teams, get to know other teams' players, get your students' input on, oh, I had a really good match against this team. They were really cool. They were really nice. Those are people that we want to recognize for the Sportsmanship Award. So again, teams cannot vote for themselves. And then last thing is, once we're doing the award ceremonies for competition at the end of the day, once we've compiled the note cards of what teams were voted for the Sportsmanship Award, we will present the Sportsmanship Award during the team who won it their competition award ceremony. So if TJ team wins the Sportsmanship Award, when they get their bronze, silver, gold, fourth, fifth place award, they will also be kept on the awards podium. They will be recognized for the Sportsmanship Award. They will be given their Sportsmanship Award. Pictures, pictures, pictures. Done. That's the process for the Sportsmanship Award. Any questions or input before we go in? Again, this is a new process. We hope it's fun, but we're open to tweaking the process as well as we go. Fantastic. Few more miscellaneous things. We're closing it out. I'll stay for Q&A at the end if not, but a few more slides. Day of volunteers. If you have extra people that are coming with you, if they're 18 or older, they can sign a volunteer form day of themselves. If you have a teacher that's usually teaching class but decides to come with you guys, they could be a day of volunteer. If you need day of volunteer folks or even students that are going to come, reach out to Sam Boyd, email her sooner rather than later, and she can help get them signed up and get the forms signed by their parent before they come. Please take down my cell phone number. If you do not have my cell phone number already, it's that New Jersey 973 number there. Please take a minute, write it down, add it to your phone. If you are running late, if something comes up in the morning, text me or call me. We recognize this facility is off of 495/270/295/95, and on a Tuesday morning, I've driven that. It's not fun. I get it. So if something comes up in the morning, please reach out, give me a heads up. Again, please respect the facility. Please respect other folks using the facility. We want to treat JTCC's facility and people well. They treat us very well. And we want to be invited back year after year. Again, so far we've done a great job. We've had one or two hiccups. That's okay. We just got to keep learning and getting better from them. Last call. So what we're going to do for last call for stuff. Essentially, your lunch form should all be in. If you have not turned in your lunch form, turn it in to me and Katie by 11:59 p.m. tonight. So essentially right after this. We already had last call for updates to rosters. We sent them out earlier this week. I did hear back from a few coaches. Thank you for checking your rosters. At this time, your rosters are final. We will send out your final rosters to you as well. Additionally, we have finished the match sheet. I'm 99.9% sure. Katie was working on it. We are going to send you guys the match sheet. The main thing that we are looking for from you guys is essentially that each of your students are on there for their pairs. I don't think we missed anybody. We pulled directly off of your competition rosters, but we look at a lot of matches, and after a while, your eyes go a little googly, and we want to have you guys check it just in case. Don't worry about anything else. If you see something or have a question about something, feel free to ask, but the main thing we're looking for on the match sheet that we're going to send you is that all of your student pairs are on there that were on your competition roster, okay? We do need any feedback on that by the tomorrow at 5 p.m. So please, when we send out the match sheet, if you don't do it tonight, that's fine. But please look at it tomorrow morning and get us feedback if you're missing something. If you're not missing anything, all your students are on there, great. You don't need to respond. You don't need to do anything. Katie, anything else last call-wise?
No, I think we got everything.
Fantastic. Other than that, before I thank you guys, I'm going to open it up to any direct questions. Any questions for anything that we didn't cover? Anything that's come up in the past that you want to double check on? Sounds like a no. With that said,
Wait,
yes,
Coach Brown, can you resend me your lunch order? Because I do not have it in our shared drive, and it'd just be faster than digging through email.
Perfect.
That'd be appreciated. Thank you.
cool. Okay. At this point, thank you guys for everything you've done. Oh, quick question. What are the rules for captains? I don't necessarily think there are quote unquote rules. I think the main thing that we're looking for captains is we want one athlete and one unified partner as your captains, to be young leaders on your team, helping with warm-ups, assisting the coaches with whatever they may need. So I don't know if there's necessarily rules. You could rotate captains every week if you wanted to. That's up to you. But typically, we're looking for an athlete and partner pair. Does that answer your question, Coach?
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Other questions? Again, we'll send out an email after this. It'll have a bunch of this follow-up information, a bunch of things for you to take a look over. Main thing is to take a look at the match sheet. And other than that, thank you guys for everything you've done this season. We know the fall season is also probably the hardest season because you're starting school at the beginning of the year. We got some crazy weather to start the year. School doesn't get easier day to day. You guys do a great job, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then do a spectacular job from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. with Unified Sports. So thank you for everything you guys have done. Thank you for everything that you guys will do at the state tournament. And I'm sure seeing a lot of the names on here, I will see you at indoor bocce and strength and conditioning and then all of our spring sports as well. So thank you guys for everything that you'll do this season as well. So that's it. If for some reason anybody else has questions, we're going to end the webinar, but feel free to ask questions or hop off and enjoy your night. Thanks, everybody.